My brother suddenly came back after 10 years of silence and turned our lives around. He will never forget that evening. It was a typical rainy Saturday in Boston. My mom and I were having dinner in the kitchen. As usual, I was silent after another grueling shift at work. My mom was focused on the news blaring in the background from the TV. And then the doorbell rang. One, then another, impatient, insistent. I thought it was a delivery man, but my mom suddenly froze with a spoonful of soup halfway to her mouth. Her face turned pale. And she whispered softly, "It's him who." I stood up, but she was already moving towards the door. When she opened it, I saw the figure of a man, tall, wet, in a black jacket, with 2 bags in her hands and a backpack. But the worst part was that I recognized him right away. It was my brother, Nicholas. The same one who had disappeared 10 years ago without a word, without a note, without a call, without a letter, without an explanation. He simply disappeared from our lives, leaving a void behind. "Hello, Mom," he said, looking at her with the same look he had once looked at me before he left. "I have nowhere to go." Mom trembled. Then she fell into his arms, tears rolling down her cheeks, and I stood there, unable to move. When the 3 of us sat down in the kitchen, all we could hear was the ticking of the clock. Mom kept crying, and I just didn't know what to say. "Where have you been?" I asked, my voice hard and cold. Even for me, it takes a long time to explain. "But I want to start all over again." "It's easy for you to say," I replied. "What about us? We've lived all these years as best we could without you. You never wrote me a single word." Mom was dying of anxiety. Nicholas lowered his head. "I know. And I'm not apologizing. I just want to be part of the family again, if I still can." Mom looked at him like he was a ghost. Then she said, "We're going to start over. We're together again." I wanted to argue, to scream, but I looked at Mom and saw how much she needed hope, how much she was suffering. I swallowed my words. "Okay, but one lie and I'll throw you out the door." Nicholas nodded. The first few days were tense. He lived in the room that had once been his. We hardly spoke. He helped around the house, made dinner, even took Mom to the doctor. But I didn't trust him. Something in his eyes, in his manner, everything seemed fake. One day I noticed that he was hiding something in the garage. That evening I went out there and found an old metal box under the tool shelves, locked. When I asked him what it was, he said it was his personal belongings, diaries, letters, photos. "These aren't yours, Alex," he said calmly, "but we're brothers. If you want to start over, then be honest." Honesty doesn't come immediately. It was a strange answer, and I decided I'll find a way to find out what he was hiding. A week passed, and my mother looked happier than she had in years. But I noticed strange things. One day I saw him talking to a stranger on the street, a dark-haired man in a black coat. When I got closer, he had already disappeared. Another time I found documents in his backpack under a different name, Nathan Cross. When I asked who it was, he said it was his cover because he worked for an agency. I worked for the government. I had dangerous assignments. That's why I disappeared. That sounded too strange. "And you're safe now," he nodded, but his eyes were different, empty. One evening, my mother went out to the drugstore, and I seized the moment. I broke the lock on the drawer in the garage. Inside were not diaries. There was money, thousands of dollars, in envelopes, with some bank stamps, and also a passport with the name Nathan Cross, several photos of armed men, and a copy of the arrest warrant with his photo. A chill ran through me. Who really came back to our house? I found out who my brother really was, and now I'm scared for our family. He sat in the garage, staring at the pile of money, documents, a fake passport, and an arrest warrant. My hands were shaking. I couldn't gather my thoughts. Could my brother, the same Nicholas my mother had mourned for so many years, be a criminal? I took pictures of everything, every bill, every document. I put my phone in my pocket and my things back in the drawer. I didn't have time to change the lock, so I just put it back and covered it with shelves. Then I pretended nothing had happened. When my mother returned from the pharmacy, I was already sitting in the living room, trying to look calm. Nicholas was cooking dinner, chicken and rice. The whole apartment smelled of it. My mother, smiling, put the packages on the table. I bought new medicine. The doctor says everything is stable. Nicholas came over and hugged her. That's great, Mom. I'm so glad you're going to be okay. I could barely keep from screaming. How could he be so calm? I couldn't sleep that night. I kept going over everything in my head, the photos, the warrant, the new name Nathan Cross. Who was he? What agency? And why did he have so much cash? The next day I left early. I said I had urgent work, but I actually went to the local police station. I showed the officer the photo of the warrant. Are you kidding me? He asked. No, he's my brother. Or rather, that's what he calls himself. But on the papers, he's Nathan Cross. He's back home after 10 years, and I'm scared for my mom. The officer asked me to wait. 20 minutes later, he came back with another officer. He was serious. We can't give you any information about the wanted man, but if it's really under someone else's name, it's serious. We'll check. Can you at least tell me if this warrant is real? It looks real. But there's nothing we can do until there's an official report. I left feeling like I'd fallen into a black hole. When I got home, Nicholas was sitting on the porch, as if he was waiting for me. Where was he? At work? I answered. Briefly. You know something, right? His voice was quiet. I froze. What exactly? He sighed. You were climbing in the garage. I was right. He didn't object. Okay. You need the truth. But it's not as simple as you think. I'm waiting. I work for a private structure that was engaged in leaking information from government agencies. Yes, I dealt with money, with false names. And yes, the warrant is real, but not. Everything is so clear-cut. It was a game of spying in which I became the victim. I disappeared because I was being pursued. If I came back, then I managed to make a deal. With whom? With the enemies. And now with the government. And what now? I'm here undercover. And I need a family, so that the cover is real. My eyes darkened. Are you using us? I'm protecting you. But believe me, that money, those documents are just the tip of the iceberg. Then tell me everything. Not now. It's dangerous. I ran to my room. My head was bursting with information. Is my brother a spy, a traitor, a hero, a liar? A few days passed. I tried to stay away from him. But Mom, her eyes lit up. She felt better. She started smiling. More. I even saw her listening to old records with him, the same ones Dad used to play when he was alive. I wanted to ruin everything. But I COULD in single quotes T. Until one day I got a message. A known number, greater than he's not who he says he is. We're watching. Keep your phone on. I broke into a sweat. Who is it? I called, but no one answered. An hour later, another message, greater than don't trust Nathan. He's escaped with a program that can destroy government servers. He's looking for protection, using you as a cover. My heart was pounding. And a few minutes later, a black car pulled up in the yard. No license plates. Two men in suits emerged. One knocked on the door. Mr. Alex Dalton. Yes, we're agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Can we come in? Asterisk. I nodded. And then I realized it was just beginning. Everything I knew about my family had been a lie, and now I had to make a choice that would destroy everything. The agents entered the house without waiting for an invitation. One of them, tall, with a cold gaze, introduced himself as Agent Marcus Bailey. The other, with a short haircut, was silent, only assessing everything around him, the photos on the walls, my mother's whereupon blanket, even the candy wrapper on the table. We know that your brother Nicholas Dalton is actually hiding under the name Nathan Cross, and we know he's here, Marcus began, wasting no time on formalities. We have a warrant for his arrest. We could use force, but we decided to give him a chance to cooperate. I swallowed. My entire world paused. What did he do? I asked, trying to buy time. He stole a government software prototype. It's a system that can access any government database, from tax records to military archives. It was designed for emergencies, but if it falls into the wrong hands, everything you know about security will be gone. And he sold it. Marcus looked at me sharply. Not exactly. He made a copy of it and hid it. Now he's negotiating with several countries. We don't know who exactly, but if we don't stop him, it's going to be a disaster. Mom came out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. What's going on here? I didn't have time to say anything. The agent handed her the photo. Mrs. Dalton, your son is dangerous. We ask that you do not interfere. If you help, it could save you and your younger son. Mom looked at the photo. Her hands trembled. No, this is some kind of mistake. My boy couldn't. We understand. Marcus said, you'll have time to think, but we're starting the operation right now. 3 more men got out of the car. They began to surround the house. I went outside and saw Nicholas coming back from the store, holding a bag of milk and bread. He saw people in suits, dropped the bag and tried to run. Down, the agents shouted. One of them took out a taser, the other a gun. I shouted to stop. He's unarmed, but it was too late. One of the agents pressed a button, and Nicholas fell, convulsing. He was tied up and taken to the car. Mom ran out of the house, panicking. What are you doing? He's my son. This is brutal. He's a threat to national security. One of the agents replied curtly. I stood there in silence. The world seemed to have vanished. All that remained was ashes. The next morning, I got a call to the local FBI office. Marcus was sitting in the interrogation room, drinking coffee. We found the device, he said, but not the program itself. It's encrypted. We can't activate it without the key. So what? You have contact with Nathan. He trusts you. We want you to convince him to give up the key. I leaned back. You want me to betray my brother? We want you to save the country. I looked at him. What about my mother? She wouldn't stand it if they put him in prison. We promised to take that into account. If he cooperates, he'll get a reduction in sentence. But now it all depends on you. I met Nicholas the other day. He was kept in a special room, guarded by 3 people. He was pale, but not broken. He smiled when he saw me. Hello, brother. Don't call me that. I knew they would recruit you. What is this program, Nicholas? Do you want to sell it? No, it's not mine. But I found an unfinished version of it on the servers when I was still working in the Section 17 team. They wanted to destroy it because they were afraid of the scale. But I saw the potential not for control, but for transparency. With its help, you can expose corruption, collusion, abuse. It could change the country. And you decided to steal it. I didn't steal it. I kept it. And then I disappeared when I realized they wanted to eliminate me. Why did you come back? He looked me in the eye. Because he knew that I couldn't stand it without my family. But he also knew that if I didn't prove the truth, life would be pointless. Where's the key? You have it. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. What? Asterisk, do you remember the old CD I gave you for your birthday once? A game with music from the 2000s. It encrypts the data. The CD itself is the key, but it only opens with your fingerprint. I created such a system so that they couldn't force me to hand it over. Why? Because you're the only one I trust. I felt something tighten in my chest. Anger, resentment, pain, everything mixed together. What do you want me to do? Take the CD. Don't give it to them. Think for yourself what to do with it. And if I give it to them, then it'll all be over. For me. And maybe for you. I came home. I found the CD. It was lying in an old box with games. It was covered in dust. I sat down in my room. I turned off the phone. I looked at the disc and realized that life would never be the same again. Give it away, keep it. Publish it, burn it. Every decision had its price. And then someone knocked on the window. I pushed back the curtain. There was a girl standing there, about 25, short hair, black jacket. She held out a note. I know you have the disc. If you want the truth, come to the abandoned hangar in Brighton today. At 11 p.m. Come alone. I looked around. The street was empty. When I looked out the window again, the girl was gone. And I held a note in my hands and a disc that could change the world. Asterisk. My brother left me a disc that could break the state. But now it's not just agents who are hunting him. It was 20 minutes to midnight when I arrived at the abandoned hangar in Brighton. The wind from the sea tore at my jacket, and every sound seemed too loud. I didn't know if I had already been spotted and by whom. I stood with the disc in my pocket. Nicholas's words echoed in my head. Asterisk, think about what to do with it. Asterisk, but how could I think when the security of the state, the life of my own brother and my freedom were at stake? The door to the hangar was half open. Inside was darkness, pierced only by dim rays through the broken windows. I took a few cautious steps and heard a voice. Don't be nervous. I'm not on duty. She stepped out of the shadows, the same girl. In real light, she looked older than I had first thought. Her gaze was determined, her face emotionless. She held out her hand. My name is Leah. I worked with your brother. What exactly? What you call treason, she smiled. But I would call it an attempt to save the truth. Are you a spy? Do you still believe that spies wear hats and work for one side? I was silent. Leah took a step closer. Look, Nick is not a traitor. Yes, he took the prototype. Yes, he hid it. But not for himself. He saw that the government was going to use the system for total surveillance. You can't even imagine it could read data from mobile operators, banks, surveillance cameras in real time. It's more than just a database. It's digital control. And he decided to give it to the world. At first he thought of destroying it. Then he thought of giving it to the journalists. But he changed his mind because he realized that information is like a weapon. It can either save or destroy. I took out the disk and showed it to her without giving it to her. Is that him? She nodded. And only you can activate it. It's part of the security that Nicholas created. Fingerprints, a code, a genetic link. Without you, it's just a piece of plastic. What do you want? To give me the disk. I don't work for the government. I'm a journalist. We work with an international human rights organization. We have a resource to spread information carefully, without chaos. And if you use it for your own purposes, you have the right not to trust. But think about it. The FBI wants to destroy the disk, or keep it for themselves. And we want to reveal the truth. I hesitated. Give it to her. What if she's lying? What if she gets exposed and the whole blow falls on me? I have another meeting, I said, tomorrow, with Agent Bailey. They're giving me a choice. If I give them the disk, they promise to reduce Nick's sentence. They're lying. It's politics. And if you're lying, Leah looked me in the I'm not asking for trust. I'm asking for a choice. Think about it. Tomorrow, at 8 o'clock, if you come, we'll find a way to activate the disk without the government. If you don't come, I'll disappear. But you'll have to live with this choice for the rest of your life. The next day I was sitting in a cafe near the FBI building. Agent Bailey was in the window. He was waiting for me. He had a document in his hands. Maybe a deal. Maybe an arrest. The phone vibrated. Message from Leah. Greater than we have the equipment. If you agree, we will make a copy, but we will not release it until you say so. But the decision is yours. I went into the building. Agent Bailey met me at the entrance. Have you decided? For now, I want to make a deal. We do not trade with terrorists, and I am not a terrorist. And my brother is not him. He is the engineer you threw under the train. Bailey sighed. Okay, what do you want? Safety for Nicholas, release on bail, and a formal agreement that he will assist in the investigation without pressure, and the disk. When I get the agreement, I will review the transmission. Bailey clenched his jaw. You have 24 hours. I left the building and headed for the Brooklyn Bridge, where Leah and I had arranged to meet. She was already waiting. She handed me a warm coffee. Decided. For now, partially, I will let you make a copy. But if I ever suspect that you are going to make it public, I will destroy both you and him. Fair enough. We went to the office, somewhere in the basement of an old factory. Inside, several computers, servers, 2 engineers. They inserted the disk into a special device. I put my finger on the sensor. A few seconds, and the system was activated. Hundreds of lines of code, access schemes, logins to government archives appeared on the screen. This is, my God. One of the technicians whispered, this is really reality. Leah nodded. We'll make a copy. We'll store it in an encrypted vault. You'll have full access. No action will be taken without your permission. I looked at her. If you betray me, I'll find you. And you have every right to. The next day I returned to Agent Bailey. In my hands was another flash drive. Empty. I placed it on the table. This is the key to information that could destroy your agency. But I kept it to myself. Because I have zero trust in you. Bailey was silent, but I'm ready to cooperate. No blackmail. No lies. You want Nicholas, okay? Release him. Give us time and he'll tell you everything he knows. But you won't get the disc. Never. Bailey looked me in the eye. His gaze was hard, but respectful. Okay, but if you lie, we'll find you. And if I tell the truth, then maybe your brother won't go to jail. Maybe. Nicholas was released on bail the next morning. We met on the roof of our old house. Did you keep the disc? No. I kept the choice. He smiled. You've done more than I expected. I nodded. This isn't over yet, but we're together now. Nicholas hugged me. And for the first time in a long time, I felt I wasn't alone. Asterisk a year later. I was sitting on the balcony of our Boston apartment. A cup of cold coffee was beside me. A laptop set on my lap. Nicholas worked for a small cybersecurity company. They didn't know who he was, and that was for the best. He kept a copy of the disk in an encrypted vault. I had the key to it. Leah didn't betray us. She became our ally indeed, a friend. The journalists never learned the truth. The FBI kept quiet. We kept our agreement. The disk would remain silent as long as we lived. Leah once wrote, asterisk when the time comes, information will find its reader. But let it not be chaos, but opportunity. Asterisk I thought for a long time, was I doing the right thing? I'm not a hero. I'm not a spy. I'm just a brother who decided that trust is more important than fear. Nicholas came over and sat down next to me. Remember when we built a bunker out of pillows when we were kids? He smiled. I remember. You said we would hide there when the world ended. And what, maybe we put it off a little. We laughed. And it wasn't fear, not confusion, but peace. And sometimes that's the biggest victory.